What was the response to this action by the state to invoke its authority with armed forces in October 1884, in which 16 Indians were killed and more than 100 wounded? Some of the injured were treated at the San Fernando General Hospital. Some of the wounded also included Africans. Not surprisingly, there was an official attempt to minimize casualties, and a government report did in fact claim that only 12 persons died. Reverend John Morton, a white Canadian missionary and founder of the Presbyterian Church in Trinidad, testified before the Norman Commission, and he felt the shooting and restrictive regulations were justified. But some may say, why did Reverend Morton say such a thing? We cannot overlook the fact that the Hosay festival was considered a pagan or heathen festival by the Christian authorities and planters. They wanted an opportunity to ban a celebration by non-Christians. It's obvious, to be properly socialized in a Christian environment, one of the strategies was to eliminate foreign festivals and cultures. It would be wrong, it would be historically inaccurate to believe that all whites in the colonies were supportive of the atrocities committed by the state. Some, such as J.E. Andre, a sympathetic Trinidad-born white, wrote to the British and Foreign Anti-Slavery Society, and he stated, I quote, "The just demands of the coolies were treated with contemptuous difference. Andre expressed surprise that the response was a force of police, soldiers, and marines concentrated near the town of San Fernando." Such a letter by Andre makes it abundantly clear that there were members of the elite, there were whites, who were not supportive of the dastardly acts perpetrated by the colonial government. I am sure even some of the planters would have been horrified to learn of this brutal act. So the brutal lesson of the 30th of October 1884 was intended for the colony's entire working class, including the Africans who dared to defy the police during the Canbole celebrations of 1881, 1883, and 1884. Some of you all here this morning might be wondering, how could an event which occurred 125 years ago be relevant to Trinidad and Tobago in 2009? The tendency to subvert attempts at unity of ordinary working people coming together in solidarity have been repeated in North, Central, and South Trinidad in the labor protests of July 1934, the riots of June 1937, and in 1970 during the Black Power Revolution, and later Bloody Tuesday in March 1975. Of all these disturbances, the incident in October 1884 is one of the bloodiest in our nation's history. Unfortunately, this event has been marginalized in the history of Trinidad and Tobago and the rest of the Caribbean. That this clear illustration of colonial repression can be almost forgotten from our collective memory is reason enough for reflection. McCandle Dagger, the political leader of the National Joint Action Committee, contends that it is a national scandal and disgrace that the society is ignorant of the Hosay Massacre. It is inconceivable that the bravery of these men who defied orders and challenged the mighty British Empire and lost their lives should be forgotten. It was these martyrs who, through their bravery, planted seeds of nationalism which will be reaped by future generations. The tragic events of 1884 created a ripple effect which resulted in the end of indentureship. This event in San Fernando undermined the mighty British Empire. It sent a strong signal to Britain, and it was a blot on colonialism. The lives of these humble, illiterate, poverty-stricken persons was sacrificed to ensure that democracy and freedom would never be compromised in Trinidad and Tobago. This is something we must cherish. It seems reasonable to ask, why is this event not properly incorporated in our history? Why should an event which, in a fragmented immigrant society, which brought Hindus and Muslims and Christians and Chinese and Portuguese together, be forgotten? All our peoples were brought together in a constructive, dynamic unity which seems sadly lacking today in Trinidad and Tobago and the Caribbean. There are some unanswered questions which we might raise today. Should the Jahaji massacre, this Hosay massacre, be included in the curriculum of secondary schools? Should it be taught at UWI and UTT? Having the topic on the CXC and CAPE syllabi is not enough. Teachers must encourage their students to submit projects on this topic. Is this not worthy of a documentary? Am I being too optimistic to believe that one day the Trinidad and Tobago Film Festival will have a short film or a documentary on this event? Has the secondary school drama festival or the Best Village competition ever featured the Hosay Massacre? Can we not back off the roots of 1884 as a tourist attraction? Are there any road signs indicating the two sides of this massacre? Should we not remember these martyrs in some way? Wouldn't San Fernando benefit from a hero's spa, a large plaque or a wall with those persons who gave up their lives for us? Why not a monument? And I want to plead here with you today. Some of you all must be wondering, I wonder what is the racial agenda or the political agenda of Dr. Teelucksingh. I want to plead with you today. We must delve into our past and commemorate events and preserve sites during slavery that need to be remembered. And what about remembering events before slavery? What about that tragic arena massacre involving the hanging of almost 22 Amerindians in January 1700? I don't want you to believe that I'm blaming this present government. Previous political administrations have ignored the need for tangible reminders. Tangible reminders. Sites where innocent blood was shed and forgotten tears fell during slavery and indentureship. Today we must acknowledge the value of that spirit of unity. Unity of the Jahajis of the late 19th century. That nationalism and patriotism of 1884 must return. We must be conscious of the sacrifices. We must remember these events. Let us celebrate the Jahajis who refused to bow to oppression, and let this be a source of inspiration for all of us. Thank you.